Hi everybody and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to be kicking off a brand new series and it's all going to be about delicious and comforting Polish food. Today we'll be making Bigos, otherwise known as hunter stew. Let's look at the ingredients that we're going to need. I have some pork neck here and the first thing I'm going to do is cut it up a little bit. I'm just going to do quarters so it will cook faster, but also I have some big chunks because I want them to remain juicy. And next I'm just going to salt and pepper them very generously. Just make sure you get it on all sides. When I say generously, I mean generously. And next I'm going to get a little bit of oil into my Dutch oven and I'm going to put in my pieces of pork in there. And this is going to go into the oven at 160 to 170 degrees for about an hour with the lid on. While my pork is in the oven, I'm going to get the rest of my ingredients ready. So I've got some sour cabbage here and I'm using two types. There's one with and one without carrots. One is a little bit more sour and the other one's a little bit more sweet. That's why I'm using both, because we'll get a nice balance of flavors that way. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my sour cabbage and I want to drain some of the liquid from it. So I'm just gonna take it and squeeze it a little bit and then I'm gonna put it into my colander to continue dripping. You want to keep your liquid because when we're cooking later, if we need to add a little bit of extra liquid, we can add this one, which is jam-packed full of flavor. If you get sour cabbage that's a little bit too sour, what you can do is give it a light rinse before you cook with it. Sour cabbage is great because we all know the benefits of fermented food. It's fantastic for your digestive system. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start cooking my sour cabbage. I'm just gonna put a little bit of oil into my pot. This is essentially a stew, so it's all about the low heat and the long cooking time to get all that maximum flavor. I'm just gonna break it apart a little bit. Okay, and I'm gonna add some spices for extra flavor now. I've got some juniper berries here. I also have some allspice and some cloves. I also have some bay leaves, which I'm gonna add in now. And finally, for extra flavor, I'm gonna add in some beef stock. Okay, I'm gonna cover it up and let it cook until my pork is ready. All right, it's just been an hour, so I'm gonna go and take my pork out from the oven. And this is what it looks like. It smells so good already. And while that's cooling, I'm gonna get on to working with my mushrooms. I got here some dried wild mushrooms which I've now rehydrated. They were rehydrated overnight in cold water. I'm just gonna take the mushrooms and just chop them up a little bit. I still want nice sizable pieces that you can get as you're eating it. And I'm gonna reserve the water in case I wanna use it later for extra flavor. Okay, and now I'm gonna put them straight into my pot with my cabbage. And give it all a good stir. And my cabbage is looking a little bit dry, so I'm actually going to add in some of my reserve water from the mushrooms. Probably about 4 to 5 tablespoons, but not too much because it might make it a little bit overly bitter. My cabbage is still looking a little bit dry, so I'm going to go in with a healthy splash of the sour cabbage liquid that we reserved. This is very much a stew, so I need it to be stewy. And now I can get started and work on my pork. So I'm just going to take my pork pieces, which I've cooled down now a little bit, and I'm going to cut them up into like nice chunky chunks. They're still gonna get nice and soft and fall apart a little bit when they're stewing, so these are perfect. Okay, and this can go straight into our pot as well. Bigos is very much what's known as a hunter stew, so there's a lot of meat going in here. So I have some Silesian sausages here as well. It's from a specific region in Poland, which I'm gonna chop up a little bit. And I also have some smoked bacon here. I need to cut this skin off before I go to cook it. Don't throw this out. If you ever want to make something like yellow split pea soup, this is fantastic for the stock. Let me know in the comments if you want to see how to cook that. It's delicious. I'm trying to keep this around the same size as my pork. Okay, I've moved my sour cabbage to the side for a little bit while I fry up my sausages and bacon. I have a tiny bit of oil here as well, just waiting for that to come to temperature, and then just literally throw in your sausages and your bacon. I have this on a medium heat. I want to render out a lot of the fat from my sausages and bacon. Okay, everything's beautifully brown now, so I'm just gonna transfer my bacon and sausages into my pot. Okay, and now in all that beautiful flavor and fat that my meat has released, I'm gonna brown my onions. So here I'm trying to get a lot of color, borderline burnt. Bigos tastes the best when it's been burnt twice. That's why we use so much smoked meat, to kind of give that flavor into the stew. If you want to add to that smokiness, you can also use some smoked paprika as well. Also, traditionally, you could use some smoked dry prunes into this, but I don't have them. I do have a nice substitute, which I'll show you in a minute. You see all that beautiful color and even some like pretty much burnt bits in the corners there. That is perfect. That's exactly what I needed. I'm gonna turn this off and transfer directly into my pot with the rest of my ingredients. Okay, I'm gonna mix everything together. It's already smelling beautiful. With everything mixed in, I'm gonna put it back on the hob and then start the cooking process again. I've got here my substitute, some plum liqueur, which I'm gonna put in. It's gonna give a fantastic flavor. Some people do use plum jam as well if you didn't have liqueur or you wanted to keep it alcohol free. For a bit of extra sweetness, I've got some honey here as well. I have some tomato paste. And I did give it a bit of a taste earlier and it needs a little bit of seasoning. So I'm gonna go with some salt and pepper. Give all that a mix. And we're basically done. I need to put this on a low heat, put the lid on and let it cook for as long as possible. It will be ready after an hour, but the longer you leave it, the flavors are gonna intensify and it's gonna be fantastic. You could leave it from one day to the next if you wanted to as well, just to keep building on those delicious flavors. Obviously, come back and stir it every once in a while, but if you get some kind of brownie burnt bits at the bottom, that's okay, they will add to the flavor as well. So I'm gonna cover it back up and I will see you in a couple of hours. Okay, it's been a couple of hours. Let's have a look at what it's looking like. It looks perfect. Everything's kind of like reduced down, everything's kind of merged together. It looks gorgeous, it smells fantastic. Oh, I am so happy with this. Let's give it a try. Just make sure you get a bit of everything. And there is our beautiful Bigos. All right, it smells gorgeous in here. I need to give it a try. My mouth is salivating. Typically you have this with either buns, buttered buns, or boiled potatoes. It is delicious. The flavors are perfectly balanced. There's that smokiness undertone to it. The sour, sweetness. The meat is so flavorful and soft. You don't even have to chew it. It is fantastic. I love stews and we've done a couple in the channel. If you want to check them back, make sure you check out my Dublin Coddle or the beef and Guinness stew. I will link the playlist up here. This is a dish that can be had for any occasion and actually any meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever you want. It is Poland's national dish and it's a must-have for Easter and Christmas. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. The autumn is the perfect time to have stews. They're just so warming and comforting, and this one is so jam-packed full of flavor that it cannot be beat. If you enjoyed this recipe, make sure you give me a big like and leave me a comment down below what you thought of it. And when you try it, please let me know what you think of it. I am dying to know. If you make it and post it on Instagram, make sure that you tag me. I will leave my handle down below. Subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming Polish recipes and share with all of your friends. With that, I'll leave you for this video and enjoy. Smacznego!